Yo, it's Austin, and I'm pretty into anime, if you can't fucking tell by everything in this room. But that's not what this is about. Today, I'm here to tell you a story about how video game companies seem to be pretty, ashamed of what they were localizing. Because today, we're gonna be talking about hidden anime games.
Excuse me, you might say. But trust me, it's more simple than it seems. Growing up, I was always the guy that would browse through the entirety of what a game store had to offer. Sometimes you're just drawn to a specific aesthetic, such as Western high fantasy, Japanese anime, or weird CG animal mascots. But sometimes you'd find something so inconspicuous only to flip it around, squint really hard, and be like, silly Americans must have been scared of the glorious Nippon, and they did their best to hide it. For example, the original Suikoden. Looking at the English cover, you might think that this is a game made by the same people who write my mom's dirty romance novels, but no, it's freaking anime, son! I'm always fascinated by this cover because it's so ridiculous, and I can't even tell who these characters were supposed to be. Oh well. A lot of these games are kinda lost to time, and with weird generic covers, that makes sense. However, with enough research, patience, and time, you'll be able to find the hidden gems of yesterday. Or put more simply, nothing can hide from me, you anime-shaming bastards!
Now this video is going to be a little PlayStation 1 heavy due to the fact that pretty much every company at the time was like, oh no, we can't have that. So our first game of the day is going to be a little gem called RC Helicopter for the PlayStation 1. Just RC. That's anime.
Yes, RC Helicopter. Yeah, this right here, that's a hidden anime game. But how? Even if you look at the box art for both versions, you'd never be able to tell. There's no clue on the back of the box, nothing on the disc, not even in the instruction booklet. Even the main menu lacks it. However, once you complete that tutorial, you'll see it. It's a hot anime mom. Yes, this is supposed to be my mom. Sailor Jupiter stopped having ex-boyfriends and decided to adopt me. I'm okay with that. So, in RC Helicopter, you play as some kid with his RC Helicopter after a brief tutorial segment, and then becomes your mission to do things with it. Turns out you aren't just some kid going out to play with his copter, but instead the entire town's errand bitch. Somehow we exist in this world where RC copters get attachments for like lawn mowing, picking up cans, shooting water at pigeons, and taking photos of the ghosts of famous classical composers in a school. It's a very strange game. Tasks are given to you by the old eclectic anime bunch. You got your mom, of course, old neighborhood lady, not as old neighborhood lady, scrappy baseball player child, hot swimming dad, hot teacher lady, etc, etc. I like how they need some random child with his RC toy to do menial tasks, but at least they pay you. And you can use the money to buy upgrades as well as new copters, so I mean, that's pretty cool. I would say RC Helicopter is pretty forgettable, but a lot of the fun comes in mastering the controls. It's pretty hard to master, like unnecessary hard, kinda like QWOP or Power Shovel. But man, once you get the hang of it, it ends up being a silly ass romp of RC helicopters and anime nonsense. The sense that this game is Japanese never really lets up either, as it continues to get more and more ridiculous. I mean, hell, the final ending for this game is you waking up from a dream and being like, oh, well, it was just a dream. Oh well. At least my mom's still hot. It's not very long, it's not the deepest game mechanically, it's pretty freaking dumb. I mean shit, it's one of the simple series games, so it's not very much at all. But for the $2 I paid for it, it's pretty alright.
So that was a case of changing the anime aesthetic entirely, but how about a case of changing the name of the game, the art of the game, and the game itself? I'm sure a couple of you have heard of the Mobile Light Force games.
Okay, so get this. Mobile Light Force doesn't actually exist. It doesn't. Neither does Mobile Light Force 2. Those aren't real games. So tell me, how exactly a game and its sequel get released on the same day on March 19th, 2003 with the same exact box art? Well, it's because they're actually games called Gunbird and Shikigami no Shiro. That's right, two different games from two different shoot 'em up series became one line of games. Thanks, Success Games, for making things really confusing. I mean, even 15 years later, they released Gunbird on Steam as Mobile Light Force. What are you doing? I don't really understand the point of this box art either. Considering the anime fantasy aspect of both Gunbird and Shikigami no Shiro, it doesn't make sense. Hell, Shikigami has people flying around, shooting lasers, fighting giant monsters. Where are the guns and robots at, dog? That's right, just on this box. Did they think that this would create sales? Did they think people would drop money not once, but twice based on cleavage? Well, shit, I bought it.
I gotta say, the selling points here on the back are like pretty good though. Let's see. You got every character has a special attack. Each level has a tougher enemy foe, and my personal favorite, highest score defeats the enemy.
The games themselves aren't too much to talk about besides the fact that they're shoot 'em ups. Gunbird has like all of the cinematics and character removed. I'm just not really sure what they expected would happen by completely hiding the source material. Like people wouldn't notice when they turned the game on to be greeted with a kawaii ass anime girl in a broom like, oh, I bet the Charlie's Angels will come later. At the very least, XS treated the sequel to Shikigami no Shiro, Castle Shikigami 2, with respect and the proper release. But for now, if you want to play the only English releases of Gunbird, you'll have to pick up this nonsense. Weirdly enough, Gunbird 2 actually came out in the States, anime showing in full bloom before Mobile Light Force, which makes it even weirder. So if you want to play that, you can, but be prepared to have $1.
You know what's cheap as hell though is Eternalize, with its amazing box art.
Look at this, just look at it. You got these dead-ass eyes staring from the sky, directly above a sword with an eye of its own. What could this game be? Perhaps something like Death Trap Dungeon? A dark fantasy proto-Dark Souls game? So you put the disc in and... Welcome to Eternalize. Here's the Japanese cover. Alrighty then. What we have here is a discount Final Fantasy Tactics with the story and character development of an old school Sonic game. I mean it. It's paper thin in terms of development and mechanics, but, well, it's alright, I guess. I don't actually understand why Crave Entertainment tried to hide the anime aesthetic here, because it's actually really cute. While the character design might seem kind of generic late 90s anime, a lot of the monsters are cute and memorable. Even if they are a ripoff of Mr. Peanut, but an egg. Mr. Egg. I mean, when you flip the case over here, you get to see a lot of it, immediately contrasting this less than stellar box art. The story is basically that like 4 weird kids are just looking for treasure, and then they find this big gym thing. You control Luke, and you've got your sister Elena and some other dudes. Then there's this explosion in Luke's house, and he goes to fight monsters, which, by the way, for the first encounter of the game, sure takes for fucking ever, because you don't have any allies, and it's just you. I had to burn through pretty much all of my items in order to survive in this battle that lasted nearly 30 minutes. For the first one, I don't know about that, man. So it turns out you're the chosen one, the Eternal Eye, who can control Mappets, the little monsters you get. Get it? Mappets? Because monster and pup, yeah, okay. But the story is all so generic that it's hard to really swallow. Motivations don't exist, and character dialogue feels like it was written by a 3rd grader. It's like, I'm angry that I'm not an Eternal Eye. It's a pity, I should stay behind. I should look after Nicole. I agree, you should look after Nicole. Okay, I will take care of Nicole. Like, what?
Hello, welcome to my YouTube video. In my YouTube video, we will talk about video games. I hope that you enjoy my YouTube video.
At least the sprite work is pretty, except when Luke runs. I don't know about that with his miraculously changing height. I want to like this game more, but there's not enough to really keep me going. Eternalize isn't that long, and it wants you to do tons of battles back to back with barely any story besides you must save the world. I don't think that really works in this setting, which is a shame. There's just too many small things to stop it from being great. There's tons of loading stutters anytime you do an action, the combat has nearly no depth, the music has potential but is really grating. Eternalize is aight, but maybe play Tactics Ogre Let Us Cling Together instead. Just saying.
All right, you guys get it right? Okay, so let's do a couple of small games before we get into the meat.
The PlayStation 1 had a ton of small releases. Shovelware-esque titles swarmed the market. A lot of these were budget Japanese games, and when brought over, they did their best to hide that anime.
We got boxing. It's boxing.
Look at this box. Now look at this. I mean, it says it all, really. Boxing is the most basic boxing video game you can ever really play. All you need to do is pull off hooks and spam it until you win. Bonus, negative points for negative stereotypes. Maybe skip this one, actually. As well as its almost literally the same game counterpart, kickboxing. Yay.
Jigsaw Madness, an extremely wholesome puzzle game.
When you look at this, you might not expect it to be anime, but hey, what do you know? It's got this multiplayer mode that seems to be a relatively fun party game, and a bunch of different jigsaw puzzles to pick from. Although really, why wouldn't you just put a real puzzle together instead of playing a video game? Oh. Well, I guess I gotta finish this to be thorough, you know? I found the One Piece.
MLB Power Pro 2008 with the price tag on it still. Shit. I'm trying to peel off the price tag. Don't get mad at me, Dad.
Japanese baseball sim RPG with a frick ton of modes. I lost a lot because I'm freaking terrible at these. The Power Pro series is really popular in Japan, but never really took off over here. I can understand why. The anime style is absolutely terrifying. I don't know why the main story of the success mode revolves around dedicating your entire life to impressing a girl that's dating a guy already, but you know, I guess that's fine.
Now here's one I didn't know about until recently. Kind of a Zelda clone, kind of an Ys game, Lagoon for the SNES.
I'll be honest, when I look at the American cover for Lagoon, I can only imagine this being in the same vein as like Draken or one of the many other high fantasy RPGs on the SNES. What I didn't expect was this freaking anime-ass opening cutscene. Like, dang, here's the American cover, and here's the Japanese one. That's very different. I looked into it a bit and found out that Lagoon was developed by Zoom, who also made Phalanx for the SNES. You know, the famous box art mishap with the dude on the banjo. Good stuff. So Lagoon, you got your surprise anime, less so in the game sprites and more so in the cutscenes and whatnot, but it's there nonetheless. What a really underwhelming game. So it kind of just starts up a little directionless, a little generic. Music is just pounding with short loops and slowly grating noises. The story here is that the water is muddy or something and I gotta go investigate it. Not too much. The visual style is very bland and leaves a bit to be desired, especially in the backgrounds. You're limited to 4 directions, so you can't go diagonally or anything. But hey, it was early SNES, so we can forgive a bit. Oh yeah, it's one of those games. Gotta save constantly or you're gonna get pounded. To make matters worse, fighting things is extremely iffy. Now once you get a shield, you can run into monsters and push them around, but if you want to attack them, you have to be pretty much at the exact right angle and distance. It's like Mist City up in here, with you taking a boatload of damage too. On top of that, there's no sound effects for attacking, taking damage, swinging your sword, or even attacking the enemy. Only for when you actually hit the enemy. Combat in Lagoon not only feels awkward to control, but it looks and sounds terrible too. Here, just check this out. Riveting, isn't it? Oh cool, no respawn like in Zelda, just fucking game over. That's like the saddest death. You know what goes really well with a Zelda clone? Grinding. Yeah, you have to grind really hard for bosses since most of the time they are a DPS race. My first time fighting a boss, I was destroyed in a matter of seconds, but I grinded 2 levels and it was pretty simple. On the contrary, I was able to completely cheese the second boss, so like, I don't know, man. There's a ton of backtracking and grinding required to get through Lagoon, and it just doesn't really feel worth your time. In fact, the first real quest you have to do is an escort quest. And not like a go find someone and you're done, but a find someone and bring them back through the dungeon. But look at how fast he's moving, like, come on, dude! This section took like 20 minutes, spent mostly on waiting for the slow child to run, made longer by me getting lost in the big dungeon. And then when I got to the end, he walked at a normal speed. No, that's good, that's fine, that's good. At least they wouldn't make me do that again, right?
No!
With the super generic plot and extremely dated gameplay, especially considering a game like Link to the Past was only a few months down the road, I understand why this one was lost to time.
Alright y'all, we have one more. This one confused the hell out of me. I stayed up all night, all fucking night, trying to figure out what the hell this thing was. Because when I look at the cover here of Monkey Magic, not in 1,000 fucking years would I think that this is an anime.
Have you ever heard of Monkey Magic? Me either. It kinda looks like it would have been a show that aired after Digimon and Flint the Time Detective on Fox Kids. To be honest, it probably did. Monkey Magic is a game made by M-Pen Incorporated. As far as I could find, it's the only game they ever made. It's also an American studio from the looks of it, but it's based off of Monkey Magic, which is a Japanese animated show produced by Beef Factory, but not the Monkey Magic from the 70s and 80s. Both of those are based off of Journey to the West, the same thing that Dragon Ball is based off of, but also Monkey Magic aired in America first, and they named the monkey Congo instead of Goku? I don't know what this is. I mean, it kinda looks like anime, right? I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but if this isn't anime, then I don't know what I am anymore. The fucking wiki page says it, so screw it. Monkey Magic. Oh boy. So, Monkey Magic is a platformer, and a surprisingly competent one. I said competent, not great, so don't get too excited now. It's a 2.5D platformer that takes place on multiple planes. Congo here can move left and right, jump up, crouch down, and break through dimensions to other planes of existence. Well, kinda. It's a platformer with an insane camera. This thing likes to move, dude. It can be a little nauseating from time to time, especially when you're moving a lot. But thankfully, the 2D sprites mesh pretty well with the 3D environments. Well, sometimes. Congo has a pretty straightforward arsenal. Jump and punch. Just one punch. That's it, at least to start with. Eventually you get the power of magic crystals that grant Congo the power of different elements. Each element can be cast on yourself or on an object or opponent in front of you. So you have fire, ice, shrink, and strength. Sometimes you'll need to like catch yourself on fire to get through a maze, or shrink an object to push it, or strengthen yourself to not die. You can even freeze platforms in order to time your jumps. The concept of elements adds quite a bit to puzzle solving, and it makes everything feel actually pretty interesting. But
This game's really weird.
I'm Beatty. You want in?
Is that Duo? What is this? Beautiful music! Monkey Madness has a style. I'm not really sure if it fits, but it sure likes to do its own thing. For some reason, the game has a pretty normal platformery sounding soundtrack, but whenever you get into a combat situation, the 70s sounding funky music starts blasting. Everyone's yelling about monkeys, and it's like, yeah, let's go! Oh, and don't forget about hearing a variation of this anytime you pick up a 1-up. It's something. You end up stockpiling lives for the longest time as the game gets more and more difficult. And you kind of need to collect them too, because Monkey Madness won't let you save after each level unless you have a certain percentage of collectibles, which is really dumb. But then they throw the live system out of the window when you get the Pearl of Life from some very racist stereotyped characters. Sure, let's have a punishing life system and say, fuck it, midway through the game. Whatever, man. They do this for magic as well, considering you needed to recharge it on certain platforms before this. Like, the game just decided it wanted to be harder, so they're like, yeah, we should probably get rid of all these systems. At the same time, it makes you feel a bit stronger as you progress through the game, so that's actually pretty cool. I just don't know how to feel about Monkey Magic. It's like a weird American take on anime that they tried to make not seem like it was anime, but they can't hide it all, even though the cover here is extremely unsettling. Bosses here are a mixed bag. Sometimes they're the easiest thing in the world, and sometimes it's complete horseshit. Like in this boss, I'm flying around on the flying Nimbus, I have to dodge bombs that are all instant kills while watching my health, picking up consumable bombs, and do it all in one go. It's really hard with this camera, man. Or, you know, the section that made me give up. This. You die in one hit. These things come down so fast and it's hard to dodge, it really is. I tried, man. I tried for like 40 minutes. There's just a certain amount of delay to Congo's movement and I just can't anymore. I'm sorry, buddy. Monkey Magic certainly is a video game. It's not bad, it's not great, but the most amusing part of it to me is the story, the history, wanting to know what it really is. Maybe we should watch the show. Maybe that'll give us the answers we desire.
I'm good. No, I'm good. So just a quick update, guys. I figured that it would be best to just put it here. As you can tell, Arcadea is no longer a thing. It is now just me, like it kind of used to be. after talking with everybody and, you know, figuring out everyone's schedules and everything and, you know, everyone's plans for what we wanted to do, we decided that it would be best to just end Arcadia the way it was. So that means it's just going to be me from now on. If you were subscribed just to watch somebody else, you know, I understand if you don't want to be here anymore. But from now on, it's going to be just me on here on Twitch, and that means on the Patreon as well. So that means I also put a pause on the Patreon. If you were a supporter, make sure to check into that. I am still doing Game Club for this month. This change did kind of just come out of nowhere, so there's a lot of stuff going on. I apologize if I'm slow on anything. But in the end, it didn't really pan out the way that we wanted it to, so it's just me. Everyone else's videos are going to be going up on their individual channels, which I'm going to put the links in the description below. Please do your best to support Lee, Scrib, Strex, and Naveed. They're all super talented content creators, and I implore you to support them if you aren't already. Thank you guys so much for watching and supporting me throughout the years. Now that it's back to just me, things are going to be a little different around here. You might see some weird shit. I was actually wondering if anyone wanted drum covers on the channel. They've always been on my side channel, but you know, just put a little thing in the description, and I will be back soon. Catch you later.